Welcome to the e-learning video on structured assessment for analyzing learning, also known as Safal. For India to realize its demographic dividend, it must have a skilled and employable workforce. The foundation for acquiring necessary and relevant skills is developed early when children are still in school. While we have managed to get most of our children into schools, we are a long way from ensuring that children acquire the skills necessary for future learning. Acquiring skills for future learning and life is like climbing a ladder. Progressing to the next rung is dependent on how strong the footing is on the previous rung. Children who don't develop a strong footing in early years tend to fall behind and struggle to progress further. The National Education Policy recognizes this need to impart competency-based learning and education to children and highlights the role of assessments in doing so. One of its key suggestions is to introduce assessments that promote and assess critical thinking, problem solving, and analytical skills. Let's understand what this means. Consider the question on the left. It requires students to recall basic math facts and perform simple calculations without any meaningful context. It does not encourage much thinking. Whereas in attempting the question on the right, children are encouraged to think critically as they first need to determine the correct operation, make sense of the problem context, and then subtract 3 from 10 to arrive at the correct answer. This transformation in how we assess is what Safal attempts to bring about. Safal stands for Structured Assessment for Analyzing Learning. It is a competency-based assessment introduced by Cbse. All students from Cbse affiliated schools are eligible to participate in Safal. Safal is administered towards the end of grades 3, 5 and 8, which marks key points in the schooling journey of children. Safal has a short-term and a long-term objective. In the short term, Safal will provide data to schools to help identify specific critical gaps in learning and instruction. Unlike assessments such as board exams, Safal report cards do not give grades or percentage scores. Instead, they provide schools with information on the specific areas where students perform well and where they don't. The schools can use this to improve their teaching-learning practices. By encouraging the testing of competencies, the long-term objective of Safal is to move away from rote memorization towards more holistic teaching. With a rigorous execution of Safal, Cbse intends to shift the focus of assessments and teaching learning towards the development of competencies to equip school-going children with the skills necessary for a prosperous future.